what happens if I do or do not ascend is like a fairy tale told to children to appease them and calm them and distract them. And it's like a story of this beautiful, magical place that we'll go after we die, that you can fantasize about and imagine and meditate about and hope for and wish for, and do anything to make life on earth bearable. It's a belief that's created and manifested and developed within self to comfort self from the reality that's here, which is a world full of atrocity and stress and anxiety and fear and everything you'd want to escape. And the belief in ascension is a perfect outlet for that desire to escape and not face what's here. It's said that life on earth is a test to test your spirituality, where you're disconnected from source, and this whole reality is just a test. Now, I may be inclined to believe that if the atrocities on earth were natural disasters and, you know, these horrible mythical things being done unto us. But the reality is that the most atrocious things that happen here on earth are a result of who we are. I mean, natural disasters can be horrific, and they do happen, and they're happening increasingly. But it's the lack of resources that takes place afterwards, where, for example, in Haiti, where preventable diseases are then spread, and there's no resources to help rehabilitate the people who were disabled in the disaster, and there's no resources to rebuild and bring back fresh water and a food supply. And I mean, that's a result of humanity. That's not a test, some otherworldly test. That's just a result of who we are. And that's, I mean, that's something that needs to be taken responsibility for, not something that needs to be meditated away. Things like the economic system are man-made creations, and each and every one of us participates in it, and within that participation we say, yes, this is okay, this is acceptable, this is an acceptable system, and we go along our merry way and believe these stories told to us about ascension, and all the while we go on consuming and being persuaded by advertisements that this is what life is about, buying stuff. And we buy all sorts of things to build these homes and fill our homes with the life that we want. And you know, all our labels say made in China, made in Vietnam, made in Indonesia, where it's slave labor and underpaid people struggling to get by, working like absolutely no ability to change their situation, while here we are able to afford to be able to learn about ascension and have the time of day to be able to meditate for a minimum of 20 minutes, as was the requirement in order to work towards ascension. Yet we're just, buying all this stuff without educating ourselves as to where it comes from and how it got that way and how the systems are created the way they are. We've been duped, really. And it's time to, wake up from behind that veil. The only veil that exists is the veil that hides reality and hides our responsibility. It's not a dimensional veil that's, keeping us from the true dimension that we are from, which is some beautiful place that, where we have everything that we want. I mean, if anything, I would see that as a comfort to the fears that we live with. The fear of illness, the fear of not having enough money, the fear of being responsible, the fear of ending up like others exist daily in this world. Existence is too horrible to fathom. I mean, that's fear. And it's being lived daily. And we're here. We are alive and able to do something. And they're here, alive and unable to do anything. So should we not start taking responsibility for this and start looking into our own human nature to see how it is that we got this way and how it is that we've all said, okay, this is fine, this is cool the way the world's working, I'm just going to, do my job and put my head down and try to raise a good family and just work and, buy stuff, and that's not acceptable. We, as individuals, need to start looking into who we are each individually as a specimen of humanity, as what humanity has become, and what we have, where we've given up, and where we've decided that I'm one person, I can't do anything, and where we've stopped looking at what's really causing the most atrocious problems in the world. We have crime and criminals with no rehabilitation, only prisons that are overpopulated and create even worse criminals. And we have people who are sick and dying of preventable disease and the medicine to cure it, but not enough money to get it to the people who need it. And natural disasters happening in the world where if it weren't for the economic system the way it were, we could put all the effort possible into assisting and supporting those who had suffered a natural disaster to have the quickest and most efficient rehabilitation and restructuring of their systems. But we can't do that because of this economic system that we just accept and allow and participate in, and don't look at the fact that it is purely a man-made problem, and instead we fantasize about a nicer place where all this stuff is just magically gone, as if you picked up humanity and planted it down somewhere else, the same thing wouldn't just happen again, because we haven't taken a moment to look at why it is that we are this way. Thank you.